So today we'll continue with the same video which we're watching, that is about physical features. Rather, uh, we discussed about,
Read about
yeah, this we were doing, right? Yeah, I'm going to play it, Gushan.
the major physiographic divisions. They are the Himalayan mountains, the northern plains, the Peninsula Plateau, the Indian desert, the coastal plains, and the islands.
So
First,
you can look at the map also. Such type of map can also be asked to make, though it is a map of a third, fourth, fifth standard. But for you, it is important because these Himalayas, because you people maximum has committed mistakes here. You people have made Himalayas here also. So Punjab में नहीं बनाने हैं. This is Punjab, a fertile plain, basically it's a green area. तो यहाँ तक Himalayas नहीं आने चाहिए. And this is river Ganga. So this is plateau area. Plateau so beautifully they have made. That is raised platform, coastal area, and desert area, right? So and rest is this is green area.
desert, the coastal plains, and the islands. First one is the Himalayan mountains. We just read about how they were formed, and also that they are geologically young, and it consists of huge chain of mountains, all residing in the northern borders of India. Himalayas is one of the most rugged mountain barriers of the world. The Himalaya consists of high peaks, and due to the flow of fast flowing rivers, deep valleys and gorges have been formed. So this creates very ruggedness on the landmass. And this is the reason there is no railway establishment also. Like you don't have
So very important point that in northern part as well as in eastern part of India, this area, northern part and northeastern part of India, we don't have this railways here. Just because it's not easy to construct railways here as well as in eastern part or northeastern part of India, because area is totally uneven forested area. यहाँ पे तो फिर भी till this Udhampur we have railway station, but north east में we don't have. The last station is Guwahati. तो यहाँ पे है ही नहीं.
much of railway facilities and tracks in north part of India because you need a stable land. The length of this mountain range
So this you should know. Length of the mountain range is 4,400 kilometer. That is all about Himalayas.
is 2400 kilometers and the width is 400 kilometers. And as you go towards the eastern side, it becomes much narrow by 150 kilometer in Arunachal Pradesh. The Himalaya consists of three parallel ranges.
So we know three parallel ranges, that is Himadri, Himachal, and Shivalik. Always keep few things in your mind. Himalaya, Himadri, sorry, that is also known as Great Himalayas, continues always under snow. Himadri, also known as Middle Himalaya, continues, but snowfall is only during winter, not during summer. Then Shivalik, Lesser Himalaya, they are also known as Lesser Himalayas, and they are discontinuous and they are recently formed range, unconsolidated range. Landslide, landslide, earthquakes are very common problem here, and even deforestation is one of the major problem. So Great Himalayas are not at all easy to cross because of the height. Average height is 6,000 meter. Even Middle Himalayas are not at all easy to cross. Average height is 4,000 meter. Shivalik's average height is 1,500 meter. So how to cross these Himalayas then if their height is so much? It's just because of the passes. What is a pass? Pass between mountain, a natural way between the mountain is known as a pass through which we can move from one part of the mountain to another part of the mountain. And again, we people have discussed, because revision is going on, we know it very well. We have number of passes. Georgila passes there, Bombdila passes there, Baralachala passes there, Shipkila passes there. So number of passes we have already done.
The northernmost range is known as the Greater or Inner Himalayas or the Himadri. The mountain peaks over there have an average height of 6000 meters, 2000 short of Mount Everest. That long it is. So the core of Himalaya is made out of granite and we
So core of Himalaya, the extreme internal part of Himalaya, that is made up of granite. It shows कि once मतलब volcanic eruption हो या some changes took place at that time. Let's see.
have read earlier what are granite. These are rocks formed due to solidification of magma or lava, and which also tells that when Indian plate was colliding with the Eurasian plate, there must have been a huge volcanic eruption under the seabed of the Tethys Sea. And due to the solidification of that magma, granites were formed, which is now the core part of Himalaya. And on top from outside, it's snowbound. And we know this that rivers are formed due to the melting of these ice.
So you can see rivers. This is river Ganga. I always keep on showing the rivers. Ganga river is this, where my cursor is moving. You can see Ganges is written here. This is Bangladesh, ultimately meeting with Brahmaputra. This is Brahmaputra and ultimately falling in Bay of Bengal. This is river Yamuna. West side of Ganga river is Yamuna. It's a tributary, major tributary of river Ganga. And you can see this is Satluj river, which passes through Ludhiana. Whenever we go towards Chandigarh, yeah, towards Ludhiana, we have to go pass through this river. And here, though it's not mentioned here, but here we have river Beas.
Nova Glacier. So I hope you understand this part pretty clearly. Now as you go towards the southern part of Himalaya, now this range over here is called Himachal or Lesser Himalaya. And obviously here the heights of the mountain peaks has to be lesser than the above one. So here it varies between 3700 to 4500 meters. So Pir Panjal is one of the longest and important range over here, followed by Dhauladhar and Mahabharata range. And we also have some famous valleys like the Kashmir, the Kangra, the Kullu Valley.
Kashmir Valley. यहाँ पे tourists basically move there. Kashmir Valley, Kangra Valley, Kullu Valley, जिसमें Kullu Manali, we go there. That is a valley area. Those students who have been to this place, they might have seen a huge broad valley, Kullu Valley. Same is with Kashmir, those who had been to this place, and Kangra Valley in Himachal Pradesh. And this lesser Himalaya, or which we call it as Himachal, middle Himalaya, particularly Himachal, is basically famous for hill stations. जितने भी हिल स्टेशन है, whenever you visit any hill station, it means you are going to Himachal or middle Himalayas.
And this region is well known for its hill stations. And the last and the third part of Himalayas, that is the outermost range.
Now look at this. This is Shivalik range, outermost range of Himalaya. This continues unconsolidated. Average height is approximately 1500 meter. Width 10 to 50 kilometer. Width is 10 to 50 kilometer.
This is called the Shivalik, and the width of this range is 10 to 50 kilometers. And the heights of the peaks in this region has to be very low, that is 900 to 1100 meters. In this range, you'll find mostly sedimentary rocks brought down by the rivers from the main Himalaya. So as the river comes, fast flowing river comes from top, they come with a full pressure and they bring huge chunk of rocks, boulders with them. And this range is also rich in alluvium soil, and some of the famous duns like Dehradun, Kotli Dun, Patli Dun are well known, and they are present.
So look at this. These are all are in Himachal. Uttarakhand, Dehradun, Kotli Dun, Patli Dun. Now here question is, what is Dun? Dunes are the broad valleys situated between middle and lower Himalayas. I repeat, Dun, a broad valley situated between middle and lower Himalayas. Example, Patli Dun, Kotli Dun, Dehradun.
present in this range. So this was all about the three important ranges of Himalaya. Till now we understood Himalayas from top to down, north to south.
Now this is, we don't call it top to down, but we call it is latitudinal location of Himalaya. It's in the form of latitudes. Latitudinal location of Himalaya. Himadri, Himachal and Shivalik. Latitude point of view. So right now we're going to discuss about longitudinal. Matlab, it's like this, longitude, 1, 2, like this, upon the base of rivers.
South. Now it's time to understand Himalayas from west to east, or which is also called longitudinal divisions. So at the extreme northwest, lying in between Indus and Satluj river, this part of Himalaya is called Punjab Himalaya.
So that is between Indus and river Satluj. We have Punjab Himalayas, means whatever Himalayas are found in Punjab, जितने भी आपको होशियारपुर की तरफ you visit या towards Pathankot we visit, these Himalayas are known as Punjab Himalayas. It is between, look at this, you can see here, this all is Punjab Himalayas, Indus से लेके Satluj तक.
And regionally, it is also called Kashmir and Himachal Himalaya as well. And then as you move towards the right hand side, that is in between Satluj river and Kali river, this place is called Kumaon Himalayas.
Now you can see here, it's again Satluj and Kali river. Kali river, though it's not mentioned because not at all a prominent river, but yeah, Satluj and Kali के बीच में we have Kumaon Himalayas here. Kumaon region is basically Himachal का area है, right?
As well. And then as you move towards the right hand side, that is in between Satluj river and Kali river, this place is called Kumaon Himalayas. And as you go further away towards the right hand side, the Kali and Tista rivers.
So here we have river Kali, approximately And here we have river Tista. This you can see, this is Nepal Himalayas. It covers whole of Nepal area. So between Kali and Tista, we have Nepal Himalayas. Between Satluj and Kali, we have Kamau Himalayas. Between Indus and Satluj, we have Punjab Himalayas. I repeat, if question is like this, write down the longitudinal division of Himalayas, then you have to explain it on the base of rivers. So first is on the base of river, Indus and Satluj. Here we have between Indus and Satluj, we have Punjab Himalayas. Then between Satluj and Kali, we have Kamau Himalayas. Then between Kali and Tista, here we have Tista River, we have Nepal Himalayas. And the last one is from Tista till Brahmaputra, we have Assam Himalayas.
Demarcate the Nepal Himalayas. And then there is another part which lies in between Tista and Dihang rivers.
So Dihang is what? Dihang is a tributary of river Brahmaputra. So between Tista is here, and here we have Dihang river, tributary of river Brahmaputra. No, it's not a very important, major river, but yeah, it is a prominent tributary of river Brahmaputra. So in between Tista and Dihang, we have Assam Himalayas. So this is a longitudinal division of Himalayas on the basis of river. Agar question आपको ऐसा है, for example, right on the latitudinal extension of Himalayas, या division of Himalayas, and you have to explain Himadri, Himachal, and Shivalik, the way we have already discussed. If question is write down about longitudinal division of Himalaya, I repeat, if question is write down longitudinal division of Himalaya, then we have to explain it this way. Indus and Satluj, we have Punjab Himalayas. Satluj and Kali, we have Kamau Himalayas. Kali and Tista, we have Nepal Himalayas. Tista and Dihang, we have this Brahmaputra, Assam Himalayas, right?
This part is known as Assam Himalayas. The Brahmaputra river comes from the easternmost boundary of the Himalayas.
Look at this. This is Brahmaputra river. And here, when river Brahmaputra is out of India, it's not in India, it's out of India. India ke bahar hai. The name of the river is Sangpo, Tsangpo, Sangpo. And when river this Brahmaputra enters here near Namcha Barwa, enters, then it is known as Brahmaputra. Got it? वैसे होता है ब्रह्मा की पुत्री ब्रह्मपुत्रा. So Brahmaputra river it is and Sangpo river, दोनों की एक ही चीज है. Got it? Khwahish Nanda, are you here? Yes, hold on, Gushan. Khwahish Nanda. Khwahish. Yes, Gushan, ask it out, beta.
Ma'am, does river Brahmaputra starts from China or from India?
No, it doesn't start from India. It starts from, actually, there's a Mansarovar Lake. And this Mansarovar Lake is actually in the border of Tibet. तो ये वहां से स्टार्ट हो रही, तिब्बत में इट स्टार्ट्स हियर, यहाँ से स्टार्ट होकर इट मूव्स टुवर्ड्स ईस्ट, नॉर्थ ईस्ट, एंड देन इट टर्न टुवर्ड्स साउथ. Got it? It doesn't pass to start from India. इसका maximum portion starts in Tibet.
Himalayas. In the eastern side, the Himalayas bend sharply to the south. Here at the eastern side, or the eastern hills and mountains are also known as Purvanchal.
So this we know very well. This is Purvanchal. Purvanchal is Purav side, eastern side. So let's play from this so that.
Side, the Himalayas bend sharply to the south. Here at the eastern side, or the eastern hills and mountains are also known as Purvanchal.
Now look at this. This is Purvanchal. This is Purvanchal. And what is the importance of Purvanchal? Purvanchal makes a boundary, international boundary between India and Myanmar. And this Purvanchal is made up of number of hills. Lushai Hills, Lushai, Naga Hills, Mizo Hills, etc.
As we have read earlier that the land over here is low, there's a depression in the land. Hence, due to the running of Brahmaputra river, lot of sedimentary rocks have accumulated over time, and vegetation is also very dense. And due to this kind of combination, there are many parallel ranges and valleys. So some of the hills that comprises the Purvanchal are Patkai Hills, the Naga Hills, Manipur Hills, and the Mizo Hills. And the next feature is the north.
So any doubt till this whatever we have done about mountains, any doubt if you are having, kindly ask. Because this is the only revision which we are doing. After this, we are not going to revise this chapter once again. Okay, carry forward, moving with northern fertile plain, situated in northern part of India, very much plain area, level land, and very fertile area. And fertile is just because of alluvial soil.
Northern plain. The northern plain has been formed purely because of.
So question can be asked, how northern plain is formed? That northern plain is formed by three major river system. I have already explained the meaning of river system. River system is main river along with its tributaries. We have Indus river system, and Indus river system we have 5 tributaries: Satluj, Beas, Ravi, Chenab, and Jhelum. We have Ganga river system, number of tributaries joining Ganga from north as well as from south. North joining hai Yamuna, Ghaggar, Gandak, Kosi. And south mein we have Chambal, Betwa, Son. And then we have river Brahmaputra. Two prominent tributaries of river Brahmaputra, that is Lohit and Dehang. So all these rivers collectively, they deposit their soil. That is called, we call it as alluvium. Alluvium they deposit, and the name of the alluvium, we have given a name that is known as alluvial soil found in this region. That's why, because of the availability of alluvial soil, this area is extremely fertile area.
Three major river systems, and they are the Indus, the Ganga, and the Brahmaputra, of course, along with their tributaries. As I've said before, this plain is formed of alluvial soil, and since we are reading about northern plain, and therefore it has to lie at the foothills of the Himalaya. And
So
it is
northern fertile plain is exactly at the foothill of Himalaya, foothills. I guess every one of you understand, and if you remember, we have already done it. When Tethys Sea was disappearing, when Himalayas are rising, at that time a depression was formed, and that depression was our area, which got filled by the sediments were thrown by the rivers in this area, and this depression later on turned into a fertile land. So that's why it is situated at the foothills of Himalayas.
has taken millions of years to make it a fertile plain.
So
Now,
you have to learn it. Total area of northern fertile plain, that is approximately 7 lakh square kilometer. And area covered by this, that is approximately 2,400 kilometer. And if you are talking about its width, that varies 240 to 320 kilometer.
an amazing fact is that the northern plain is densely populated. It means if you
So
see
densely populated, definitely this area is densely populated because number of rivers are flowing here. Area is very fertile, climatic conditions are suitable, enough availability of water. That's why agriculture is developed there. And that's why, because of agriculture, number of agro-based industries are also situated here, yeah, found here. So because of this area is densely populated. People have enough job opportunities, either in agriculture or in industrial area. So both are economically very developed area. So that's why, and land is leveled, land is plain. So it's very easy for us to construct railways there, roads there, highways there, because land is leveled, climate is extremely suitable. So because of all these factors, we can say northern part of India, that is where we people live, that is densely populated area, which include Punjab, Haryana, UP, Bihar, and Bengal primarily.
around the world, most of human civilization resides in the plain area. And it is purely because of the soil, adequate supply of water, and favorable climate. Since this plain exists because of the river system, and rivers bring rich soil cover when they flow, this makes that region full of alluvial soil, and this particular soil is good for agriculture purpose. And agriculture will lead to food production and thus add value to the economy and hence becoming the most productive part of India. When a river comes from mountain, it rushes into the plains. There the river does not follow a uniform path. It breaks into different.
So definitely doesn't follow uniform path, or it doesn't move in a one direction. When river is moving from a mountainous area to bottom, so automatically direction would be same. Ki bottom, upper say bottom ki they have to move. But when river moves on a plain area, river can't be in a straight way. River automatically will get divided into number of parts because area is extremely plain, area is extremely gentle, बहुत soft ऐसे है land. Land is not like this. अगर land ऐसी होगी तो automatically river will start coming from northern and move towards southern, same ही direction में जाएगी. But जैसे plain area में it would enter, river will start distributing its water. River will start expanding.
Different channels due to deep gorges and rugged terrain. So these channels are known as distributaries. The
So what are distributaries? Distributaries are small streams that comes out from the main river when a river is moving on a extremely plain area, gentle slope, and the river is not able to move fast because river is full of sediments. What would river do? River would divide its water into various parts, and those division known as distributaries. Distributary. River has distributed its water.
northern plain is broadly divided into three sections.
So this can also be asked, the division of northern fertile plain.
The western part of the northern plain is referred to as Punjab Plains.
So this
and it
area,
is purely formed by
this
the
is
Indus and its tributaries.
this area where we people live again, once again, Punjab plain, mainly formed by river Indus and its tributary, and prominently we say Satluj and Beas.
And the larger portion of this plain lies in Pakistan. And the second is the Ganga Plain, which lies between Ghaggar and Teesta River. Now remember this, the
So Ganga plain, definitely this area, whole of where river Ganga flows.
Ganga River passes through Haryana, Delhi, UP, Bihar, part of Jharkhand, and West Bengal to its east, and then finally drains into the Bay of Bengal. Usually, the northern plains are generally described as flat land, but it
Flat land. Flat land does not mean a land just like we have, which we have made with the help of a scale. It has certain variations, but variations are extremely gentle. It's not very much flat like this. हल्की हल्की ऊपर नीचे है. Gentle.
has little variation in its relief. Basically, I'm talking about different types of alluvial soil. I'm not going to explain about alluvial soil. Instead, I want you to watch this video wherein I have specifically covered about alluvial soil in detail. So just head over there, watch it, and you will get it pretty clearly. The third feature is the Peninsula Plateau. The
So
peninsula
if you remember, we have done Northern Fertile Plain made up of four parts. That is on the base of its relief feature, basis on its height, we can say. We have Bhabha region, we have Tarai region, we have Bangad region, and we have Khadar region. Bhabha region is a region where we have mountains and rivers are coming from the mountainous area. Bhabha region is a region where we have pebbles, and rivers coming from the mountainous area. Because of the pebbles, their speed is not so fast and they disappeared under pebbles. That area is known as Bhabha region and it is 8 to 16 kilometers from the foothills. After that, we have Tarai region. Tarai region is that area where rivers reappear and instead of big pebbles, there is a marshy area, mitti is there. So after Tarai region, we can divide this region into Bangad and Khadar region. Bangad region is here and Bangad region is a region which is made up of old alluvium soil, the soil which is not very fertile and the grains of the soil that are quite thick. बड़े होते हैं. And last region we have a Khadad region. Khadad region is a region which is made up of very fertile soil. Every day, new year layer of soil get deposited. That's why that makes it this area very fertile and very fine particles of soil we get here. So that is the four divisions of northern part of India: Bhabhar, Tarai, Khadar, and Bangad on the base of its relief feature. So next we're going to start with Peninsular Plateau.
Plateau is a tableland, means
So we
flat
know
land.
we know very well tableland structure raised from the nearby areas and flat from the top.
Plateaus are flat land. Now it is composed of old crystalline, igneous and metamorphic rocks.
So southern part of India is made up of igneous and metamorphic rock. This already we have discussed when we discussed for the continental drift theory or this plate tectonic theory.
The Peninsular Plateau is the oldest land block of a country.
So again we have discussed that this southern part of India is the oldest land mass and this was a part of Gondwana land.
Of Gondwana land. Now here the plateau is broadly divided into two categories. The
So whole of Peninsular Plateau we can divide into two parts. That is Central Highland, where you can see this area, area between Aravallis and Vindhyas and Chota Nagpur Plateau area. This is Central Highland. It's clear from the name Central Highland, situated in the center of India and not at all a plain area, but highland area. Neither it's a mountainous area nor it's a dastic area, but uneven area. Mountains are there, but its height is not at all so large. And then we have southern part of India. This is known as Deccan Trap, Deccan Plateau. Deccan Plateau, which is surrounded by water from three sides. Let's see.
Central Highlands and the Deccan Plateau. So the Central Highlands lie right in the middle, that is to the north of the Narmada River, covering major area.
So you can see this is river Vindhyanchal. This is range Vindhyanchal. This is Aravalli range. In between this we have Malwa Plateau and this area we call it as part of Central Highland. Western part of Central Highland is made up of Malwa Plateau.
Of Malwa Plateau, just have a look at this in the map. So Central Highlands is bounded in the south by Vindhya range and towards its northwest.
So this we can see Vindhyas. In between Vindhyas and Aravalli we have Central Highlands.
That is near Rajasthan. It is bounded by Aravallis. And the rivers that you will find over here is Chambal, Sindh, Betwa and Ken. So the Central Highland
So Chambal, Sindh, Betwa and Ken. These all are the rivers which join Ganga from south. It means from Malwa Plateau it actually it moves through that area.
Extends up to Chota Nagpur Plateau in the east. And the second division of Peninsular Plateau is the Deccan Plateau. This landmass lies to the south of the river Narmada.
So river Narmada you can see here, though it starts from this it starts on this area and move toward this side. This is river Narmada.
The Satpura range is the boundary in the north for Deccan Plateau, and towards the eastern side, Mahadev, Kaimur Hills and Maikal range is the boundary. Another factual thing is that Deccan Plateau is a bit higher in the western side and slopes gently towards eastern side.
So this we have done. This Deccan Plateau is higher in the western side and slope towards the gentle eastern side. That's why jab bhi rainfall take place, water start coming and start moving towards eastern side. And that's why southern rivers, they move and they fall in, they move towards eastern Ghats and they fall in this Bay of Bengal. just because of the height of Western Ghat is more.
This is one of the reason why majority of the rivers flow into the Bay of Bengal, that is towards the eastern side. So Western Ghats and the Eastern Ghats are the west and east edges of the Deccan Plateau.
So we know very well southern part of India, Peninsula Plateau of India, we have two ghats. Ghats are what? They're mountains actually, and running range, continuous range of mountain. We call it as Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats. Western Ghats are continuous and Eastern Ghats are discontinuous.
Western Ghats are higher in elevation than the Eastern Ghats. The stretch of Eastern Ghat is from
So
Mahanadi
height of Western Ghat is approximately 900 to 1600 meter, and height of Eastern Ghat is approximately 600. That's quite less.
Valley from Odisha to the Nilgiris in the south. And the Western Ghats starts near the border of Gujarat and Maharashtra, where it is given a name Sahyadri and reaches all the way till Nilgiris in Tamil Nadu. So the highest peak includes the
So highest peak of South India, extreme South India, we have Anaimudi. Western Ghats, we have Doda Beta. Eastern Ghats, we have Mahindargiri. So these locations already we have done. I have made the map on the blackboard also. If you remember, you might have noted down. And so that you have to do practice of all this.
Annaimudi and the Doda Beta. And in Eastern Ghats, the highest peak is Mahendragiri. So the Deccan Plateau is known for its black soil.
So we know very well Deccan part of India is made up of black soil just because of its origin, that is from volcanic soil, volcanic origin. Igneous rocks are mainly found here.
And this is of volcanic origin, hence the rocks are igneous. And since soils are formed from weathering of rocks, hence these rocks are responsible for the formation of black soil. And the fourth feature is the Indian desert. It lies towards the western side near Aravalli Hills. And desert consists of sand, hence it is called sandy plain. And this region receives very
So
low
this region
rainfall,
receives
below 150.
this region, western Indian desert, also known as Thar Desert, situated in the western part of Aravallis, and it's totally sandy area. Sand dunes are there, and amount of rainfall that is less than 50 centimeter. This area receives less than 50 centimeter rainfall, so high temperature is there, low, less rainfall is there, and because of this, vegetation in this area is extremely less, and that is generally in the form of thorns and shrubs and bushes. Though they have rivers, but these rivers are temporary rivers. These rivers are formed whenever there is rainfall. जब बारिश नहीं होती है, these rivers disappear.
50 millimeter per year. It has arid climate, which means hot and dry, with low vegetation
Arid climate means dry climate.
cover. You will only see river during the rainy season. Luni is the only large river in
So only large river in this Thar Desert area, Rajasthan, Indian desert, that is name of the river is Luni.
this region. And this region is famous for Barchans.
Barkhans, this is known as Barkhans, that is crescent shaped dunes. Sand dunes which are huge in size, but their sides are extremely steep, known as Barkhans.
Which mean sand dunes. And the fifth feature is the coastal plains. India is a peninsula country. The reason we are called peninsula is because of water being on the three side.
So
Because
we
if
know peninsula means an area which is surrounded by water from three sides. So three side we have water, and the three side we can say we have coastal lands. Basically, extreme southern tip is extremely small area. So we have two coastal plains, western coastal plains and eastern coastal plains. So let's see.
it is on the fourth, then we would have been known as island. So we have Arabian Sea on the west and Bay of Bengal to the east. So let's read about Western Ghats and the Arabian Sea. It's a narrow plain and is divided into three sections. The northern part of the western coast is called the Konkan.
So this you can see that is from Gujarat till Goa. We have Konkan coast. Already we have done the map, but again revision is going on. Then Karnataka, whole of Karnataka, we have Kannada coast, and below Karnataka we have Malabar coast. So western coastal plain we can divide into three parts. I repeat, Konkan coast is still Goa. Karnataka is Kannada coast. It is known as Kannada coast, and below Karnataka we have Malabar coast.
Mumbai to Goa. The central stretch is called the Kannad Plain and it lies in the Karnataka region, while the southern stretch is referred to as the Malabar coast, which is completely in Kerala. Now let's move on to the Eastern Ghats. They are comparatively wider than the Western Ghat. It is
So
referred as
eastern Ghats are eastern coastal plains are wider as compared to western coastal plain, and we can divide into two parts: Nadran Sarkars and Coromandel
in two
coast.
parts. That is the northern Sarkar, while the southern
So you can do it. You can, although again we have done it. So this is Nadran Sarkars, and the last one is Coromandel coast, which basically covers Tamil Nadu area.
part is known as Coromandel Coast. Some rivers such as Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri, They drain into the eastern side. And on the western side, Narmada and Tapi are the river that drain into the western side.
And very important lake, that is largest saline water, salt water lake, Chilka Lake, Chilka. It is situated in Odisha, eastern coastal plain. Then we have islands.
And coming to the last feature, the islands. So we have two sets of islands in our country. One is the Andaman and Nicobar in the Bay of Bengal, and the other is Lakshadweep in the Arabian Sea. Lakshadweep Island is a small coral island. Earlier it was known
Coral we have done, decay, dead creatures, sea creatures, when get accumulated at one particular place in the sea, slowly and slowly this deposition of the sediment, and this lead to growth of plants, and ultimately people start living there. So Coral Island, Lakshadweep.
as Lakadweep, Minicoy, Amindeep, and in 1973 we named it as Lakshadweep and the capital as Kavaratti, which is also the administrative headquarter of Lakshadweep. Coming to the Andaman and
So
Nicobar
Lakshadweep Island, we have the capital, we have this Kavaratti, and there is Spiti Island, which is basically famous as a bird sanctuary.
islands, they are bigger in size and are more numerous and scattered. So the entire group of island is divided into two broad categories. The Andaman
So
and
Andaman and Nicobar we have done. These are actually submarine mountains, submerged mountains, Himalayas, and the capital is Port Blair. And we have only one active volcano found in Andaman Nicobar, that is in Barren volcano
the
in
north
Barren
and Nicobar
Island.
in the south. So this island is close to equator, hence it has equatorial climate and thick forest cover. So before wrapping it up,
So now this is done from this chapter, thorough chapter we have done. We have very less time, rather time is almost up, 45 is showing to me. Anyone having any doubt regarding any point from this chapter, kindly let me know. We have just, time is almost up, beta. Any doubt? Maps, don't forget, you have to do practice of map, then only you can do something. Otherwise, it can be a problematic for you. Any doubt?